Natural selection was described by both Darwin and Wallace as the process by which evolution occurs. So, both Darwin and Wallace suggested the theory of evolution by natural selection. For the exam, you need to appreciate that the theory of natural selection developed over time and from information gathered by many scientists. So, who is most credited with these ideas? Darwin and Wallace discussed their ideas about natural selection. In 1858, Wallace published joint writings with Darwin. So, although Charles Darwin is often thought of as the father of evolution, Alfred Russel Wallace was also very important, as he independently proposed the theory of evolution by natural selection and worked with Darwin before he published his own theory. For the exam, you don't need to know this date, just know that Wallace was around at the same time as Darwin, when there were a lot of developing ideas. What was the title of the book published by Darwin? Working with Wallace prompted Darwin to then publish On the Origin of Species in 1859. It's Darwin that is often thought of as the father of evolution due to this book. So how does this link with the idea of natural selection? Natural selection is based on a collection of ideas that build up to explain how evolution works. Individual organisms within a particular species show a wide range of variation for each characteristic. More offspring are produced than the environment can support. As a result, only the offspring with the best suited characteristics would survive and go on to breed themselves. The characteristics that have enabled these individuals to survive are then passed on to the next generation. Over successive generations, this increases the number of individuals with this new successful trait. What sort of question about natural selection might you be faced with in the exam? The peppered moth is normally light in colour, but a mutation can lead to a variation in colour. Birds eat moths when they're resting on tree bark. This diagram shows a bird feeding on moths which are sitting on tree bark. This scenario is before pollution occurs. You can see how the darker peppered moth is much easier to spot and so gets predated by the birds. Pollution can make the bark of trees much darker. This time, the darker peppered moths are much more camouflaged against the tree bark. Now, the lighter peppered moths are going to be predated by birds because they're much easier to spot. Therefore, we end up with a population only consisting of dark moths due to the process of natural selection. So how might this example come up on an exam question? The peppered moth is normally light in colour, but a mutation can lead to a variation in colour. Birds eat moths when they are resting on tree bark. Pollution can make the bark of trees darker. Use the information above to explain how natural selection leads to an increase in the population of dark moths in a polluted area. So step 1, identify that the question is asking for an explanation of natural selection in the context of peppered moths. It's really important that you don't just write everything you know about natural selection, but that you frame your answer in relation to the context, in this case, peppered moths. Step 2, answer the question including the concepts of variation, a struggle for existence, and inheritance. The examiner will be looking for the concept of variation, a struggle for existence, and inheritance in your response. So first, let's make a statement about variation. Variation will lead to some darker moths. Now, the struggle for existence. Darker moths will be better camouflaged from birds on the darker trees. Finally, inheritance. This means they are more likely to survive and breed, and then we need to link this to inheritance, so this means that they will be passing on the dark trait. So there's an example of how to answer a question about natural selection in the exam.
Thanks for watching. If you want to take your GCSE revision to the next level, head over to launchpadlearning.com and check out our smart learning platform that's been designed to get you top results in your exams. We cover your whole specification and make revision fun with interactive quizzes, easy to follow videos and more. You'll be kept motivated by your own AI tutor who's here to support you every step of the way. To check it out for yourself, click here. Or click here to keep watching a selection of the videos from our full GCSE Biology course. See you there!